This is part 4. I'm going to explain to you how to use crafting items in PoE. These are not going to be all the crafting items that you can use. These are the basic ones, the ones that you're going to use most of the time. So, starting off, we are going to use Orb of Scouring. An Orb of Scouring will remove an item, will change its rarity, will delete all the modifiers except for the enchants and the implicits. As you can see, this item does not have any implicit, nor it has any enchants. If I'm using an Orb of Scouring, it will make it white and it will not have any modifiers. I have an Orb of Transmutation. This will make the item blue and it can give it 1 or 2 modifiers. It gave 1 modifier. Now I can use an Orb of Augmentation. An Orb of Augmentation to a blue item, it will add another modifier if possible. Because this only has 1 suffix and no prefix, it will guarantee a prefix. It will add a prefix. Now I have an Orb of Alteration. An Alteration Orb will will re-roll the modifiers and give me some new modifiers. It can give me 1 prefix or 1 suffix or both 1 prefix and 1 suffix. An Orb of Annulment, it's going to remove a modifier. It's just basically going to delete 1 modifier, as you can see right here. Um, a Jeweler's Orb, it's going to give me different sockets, and the fusings is going to link those sockets. A Chance Orb will take an item that is white and can make it blue, rare, meaning yellow, or it can make it unique. If you have a very expensive base, don't use an Orb of Chance. If it happens for you to not have a transmute or something like that, or you want to make it rare, don't use an Orb of Chance because it can transform it into an unique. It's a small chance, but basically it can happen. Chromatics, change the colors. Regals, if an item it's blue, only if it's blue. If it's white, it cannot add a modifier. Basically, it does what an Orb of Augmentation. I mean, it will transform. It does what a transmute does, but now it takes it from a blue item to a yellow item. So right now, if I'm using a Regal Orb, it will add 1 modifier and it will make it yellow, like this. An Orb of Alchemy will make the item from white to yellow. A Chaos Orb, if the item is white, I mean, let's show you the Binding Orb. A Binding Orb basically does what an Alchemy does, except it gives you four links, like this. Let's make it yellow once again, and a Chaos Orb will reroll the modifiers. Basically does what an Orb of Alteration does, but this is applied to a yellow item. It will change the modifiers. This does not mean that if you start with 4 modifiers, you will end up with 4 modifiers. It can give you 4 modifiers, 6 modifiers, it depends, it's random. But basically, it will change the modifiers. An Exalt Orb, it will add a modifier. I'm not going to use one right here, but basically it will add a modifier. Because my item right here has 3 prefixes and 1 suffix, it will add a suffix. When you press Alt, you see that all these modifiers go from a range. If you want to change this value to increase it, you are going to use a Divine Orb. Most of the time you're not going to use one because these are very expensive and should only be used on extremely expensive items. We are talking 30-40 divines. Don't bother with that. To change the implicit of an item, you have a Blessed Orb. So if we go to this ring right here and we are using a Blessed Orb, if you see that 15 to cold and lightning resistance goes from 12 to 16, if you want to make it 16, you can use Blessed Orb and spam it until you hit 16 like this. A Valorb can have different outcomes. Make it the item uh, 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 yellow. I mean, change the modifiers on a yellow item, make it unique. Give you new implicit modifiers. Give you white sockets, but usually you don't use Valorbs when crafting. This item you should not touch it when crafting, because once you corrupt an item you cannot modify it even further. For example, I use a Valorb on this, it says that it's corrupted. Now if I want to use a Scouring Orb, I cannot use it. If I want to use an Alchemy, I cannot use it. Another basic thing would be deafening essences. I mean essences in general. Essences will guarantee you one modifier, and that each essence is different, and you have to know what modifier to look up to mm, to craft with a certain essence. But basically, what it says on the text, it will guarantee you that modifier, and it will have the range that it says right there. Different essence tires gives you better outcomes, but basically it's the same modifier, it just has a better value. For example, the highest tire of an essence is going to be deafening, and it will guarantee you increased cold damage of 31 to 34 on this ring. I cannot use it because this ring um, it's not rare yet. To make it rare, because the item is blue, I have to use a regal, and now if I use this deafening essence, if I'm using this on a belt, it will give me cold resistance, but if I use it on a ring, because this is what the text says, it will give me increased cold damage. And the last part is going to be the fossils. I'm not going to go over how fossils work, I'm just going to show you how to craft with them. Basically, you have resonators like this. This will only allow you to use one fossil. This allows you to use 2 fossils, 3 fossils, and this one right here, which I don't have, will allow you to use 4 fossils. To split the resonators, you hold down shift like this, and when you put the fossils, you hold it down shift once again, and you put the fossils like this. And now if I wanted to use this fossil on this ring, it will give me more cold modifiers and no fire modifiers. So basically, that it increases the chance of appearing cold resistance, increased cold damage with attack skills or something like that, and it will no longer show any fire modifiers. And the third one would be harvest.
When I'm ready and not before.
Here with harvest, let's just say you are mainly going to use reforge, fire, cold, attack. I'm not going to go over how to craft with harvest in depth. I'm just going to give you a basic idea and add. Uh, these are very expensive, right? As you can see, 15,000 seeds. Some of them are 17 and some of them are 20. Uh, these are more complicated, but basically you go to this bench and you just press reforge, and it will guarantee you a modifier of fire. No matter how many times I try this craft, it will give me at least one fire modifier. Fire tags are for, I mean, tags in general for a different video, but basically this is how you craft in PoE. These are the most things that you are going to use in PoE. There are some other things like bench crafting, beast crafting, the veiled chaos orbs, eldritch currency, stuff like that, but most of the items that you're going to use when crafting are these ones right here. These are the basic ones. Anyway, that was for part